affected.
Yeah.
So that's what I tell them. I'm like, I'm not stopping you. I'm not holding your hand. I'm not making you sit there. It's your choice, but you're not going to get credit for what we're doing.
And then making sure that you have stuff for them to be doing.
Correct.
Right. I know, and especially our program, they have to account for every single minute.
Every
Correct.
minute.
I mean, if they leave, they've got to make that up at some point, and they're not willing, so
Yeah.
they do stick around.
Yeah. And that's what, it's one of the hard things. I was like, I love that about, our clock hour programs.
Yeah.
But I also despise that. But it is, you guys know and you have the understanding, you must be here. There actually is no wiggle room with them being there. The rest of us are like, but I'm hoping that when we look at it, we understand, no, you're here until we're done with class today.
Because you're open lab, can they just leave if they choose to?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, they shouldn't be. But
Okay.
they
were allowed to before.
Okay. I was just
It's a little
curious.
problem. We're done. I've done everything. And if they have done everything, then we haven't done a good job of managing that last session. So we just have to look at it and get good feedback like this. I saw nothing wrong with what she said, except for what she said. But other than that, she has a great story. I had no idea that she was a drug addict. I had no idea that decided not to do school, bounced around a bunch of schools. Just, I don't know, a really good story of coming back from somebody who probably shouldn't have made it to getting her high school education while she was here. She just finished last week. I know, that's so cool. And then I'm gonna be an MA and hopefully more school.
Does a history of drug addiction affect their ability to find a job?
No, unless they've been convicted.
Correct.
Okay.
Unless they have a
I
felony.
didn't know if she
Yeah, I was
is.
going to say you have to have a conviction for it to
Yeah.
matter, because you don't have to disclose that.
I know, but she just did, and it's.
Yeah, I know, but
Everywhere.
That's why I would ask, because you might want to edit that out if that's the case.
Well, she has a job, so we're good.
Oh,
She
okay.
does. You can't fire me now. I'm already here.
And they told me that they
Oh, so
don't.
these are grads you're asking?
No.
She's about to be.
Oh, she's on her.
They've had good. Nope, she's not on our.
Oh, wow.
She's done.
But the site told me they don't need her to take another background and drug screening. So I was like, sweet, I'm not gonna send it then.
Yeah, don't send it.
Yeah.
Mm.
So
Well, she's fine.
no, she already had it. So, and they told me
She's good.
that they don't need another one.
That's cool.
I'm like, yay.
All right, today episode, I don't know what, but we're doing tricks of the trade. Not tricks of the trade, we're doing education roundtable. Education roundtable. I'm excited about the conversation today. Filling time. I don't know if we came up with a fancier name than filling time, but filling time is where it's at. I'm going to start with just going around the room. Like, what are the challenges with filling time? Just what are the challenges? If you were a new instructor, take yourself back to that and looking at it. I want you to just quickly think of what are the challenges that you think you might face before we actually dive deep into the conversation.
I think being able to read your class as to where you can take the information, if you can take it to the next level, or if you need to stay focused on what we just talked about. So having that understanding of being able to read where the class needs to take it next.
Okay. Reading the class next.
Getting those that aren't engaged.
Well, get those people from pretending they're not doing anything.
oh yeah, they're
Although
like
they might
this.
be.
Or
Sometimes
they're
I
even
have
blatant
found,
about it, Rick.
I have found sometimes, rarely, they're taking notes.
So these two took mine. The question once more, please. Ask me the question again.
I want just take yourself back to why do you think first, like take yourself back to when you first started and why is it hard to fill time as a new instructor?
Why is it hard to fill
Why
time?
could it be hard to fill time? Why is it hard to fill time? Why are we having a conversation about filling time?
The problem that I think a lot of us struggle with is the curriculum that we're given.
Curriculum.
Is that today I had 2 theories, 2 quizzes, and a how-to, which is a simple, short 30-second video on how to test fuel. we were done in less than an hour.
Mm-hmm.
So now what do I do?
So now what do I do? Yeah,
Okay,
curriculum.
that's what's hard about filling time, and then what you do to fill that time, I assume, is what we're going to get
Yes.
into. 'Cause I have something.
Yes, that's what we're gonna have the conversation, exactly that, the curriculum. Are you jumping in on the conversation today?
Yeah, sure, why not? I think as a new teacher, sometimes like trying to get keep it within the curriculum, engaging students, because you'll have some students, they're like, yeah, I want to do that. No, I don't want to do that. That's stupid, or whatever, or not having enough tools in your toolbox yet. You know, kind of knowing what else can I do? I mean, I know it, we can go to online games, we can meditation, different things like that.
And that's a
But-
good one too. I'm sorry,
Yeah, no, it's okay.
having enough tools in your toolbox, that,
Right, yeah, it
that's-
is. It's having,
that's a whole nother meeting.
being able to pull from as a new instructor.
Mhm.
You know, once you're kind of seasoned,
Mhm.
you know, you have ancillaries and you have books and you have videos and you have all these other things, but then that comes from your pocketbook.
Mhm.
Mhm.
So that's, you know, you can't go out and just spend a whole bunch of money in the beginning to
Mhm.
have things to fill that time.
Yeah, for sure.
I also think there's like that fear factor of, did I just take yours, Janet?
No.
No.
As being a new instructor, like you have this curriculum, we talk about how important it is to follow the curriculum and knowing when it's okay to add more to it, or if the content you're adding is okay to be added to the curriculum. I think is another one that new instructors or educators may have.
No, I was gonna say that because you're brand new, you don't know the students, which is kind of reading the class, but you don't really know them like you do after you've had them for 2 and 3 terms.
Mm-hmm.
And so you don't know how to add, when you want to add something, you don't know if it's going to engage those because you haven't learned enough about them yet. So it's kind of a combination of all of it. But then I also think it's this time management.
Mm-hmm.
They talk too fast and they are in it because the fear's in there and they're just, instead of slowing down and repeating, they forget to repeat.
Mm-hmm.
I think they just cover it. Okay, I made it through, I'm done.
Yeah.
But then they look at what time it is and you're like, holy crap, I
Mm-hmm.
got 2 hours to go. But, and then the next, like, I was thinking back to the first class Carla had, she had a very challenging group.
The
That
personalities and
the
one.
personalities were
one
horribly,
was
con-
really
no
detrimental
connection.
to the whole class.
Toxic.
Because behind the scenes, she was flaming fires and things like that.
It was just
to keep them.
hard thing for, I mean, she made it through trial and error. I'm like, oh, you're gonna stay because you made it through that class.
No, it's that person.
But they fed off of each other, and I think it's reading your students and then knowing them enough. How do I reel them away from that? It was really challenging.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Just knowing the level of the students, some take longer than others.
Oh.
So you have some that'll rush through material and then you have some that you're pushing them to get it through. And so that makes the time of the class also a struggle because you have some that are done talking and then you have some that are still working on it, struggling. And so that makes it difficult.
And I think that especially when we have our new instructors, or if you're a new instructor, you actually do have to spend time putting your classes together. So somewhere in there, we think that somebody's going to pass us a curriculum, and they pass us one, but that's not where it stops. And I'm hoping that you all have some good tips on how to dig deeper past the curriculum so that we can fill those times with quality things, not just filling time to fill time. I don't even know if I should use that because I don't want us filling time, but I want us providing a quality education. That's our goal at the end of the day. I don't even know where to start. Does anybody want to start for us? Oh, all right. Yeah.
I've been making the instructors do outlines on their daily agenda and give it to me. So, I mean, separate from the lesson plans and whatever it says in the syllabus, so I know what they're doing. Just to think, that makes them think, and how much time do you want to spend on each one of these? So it gives them a gauge. Very simple. It just says week 1, day 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5, or however many days you have. And then underneath of it, just one-liners.
Mhm.
Lecture, chapter 21. And then you need to put roughly how long are you going to do for that particular time frame.
Do you ever go back and ask them, like if you see somebody who says, oh, I'm gonna go through lecture 1 and that's gonna take me an
Yep.
hour, and you're
Yeah.
like, that's not an hour.
Because I have a new instructor, Shannon, who is doing, I have her this whole term prepping for kinesiology, which is a hard class.
Mhm.
She gave it to me today and asked me my thoughts.
Mm.
Exactly that same thing. You
Mhm.
think this is enough stuff to fill my time that day? She already asked me that. I'm like, yeah.
Mhm.
You told her, yeah?
Yeah, there was. She did a good job.
Did she? Oh, that's
It's
cool.
awesome.
Because I would tell her no straight out of the gate.
Well,
I did because she's new and just because I know she's gonna talk too fast.
day three,
Like you
day
said.
3 was not enough. And so I said, you need to add some other things on day 3.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
But if she
otherwise,
sticks to her time schedule.
yeah, I think she'll be fine.
Mhm.
But I think she's also made it through anatomy and now is in class and totally prepared. I think she'll do a really good job. And kinesiology is her forte anyways.
And that's the thing is it's trial and error. You know, I have notes because I'm like,
Yeah.
don't do this. This did
Mhm.
not work. And so then moving forward, I know, ooh, take that out. Let's do something different. But I teach the same thing every term. So I
Oh.
have a good basic, but you guys aren't one loop. I'm a one loop program. So I take that and I add or I subtract, and that's what I've been doing for all these years.
Mhm.
So adding and subtracting.
Adding and subtracting.
Checks.
Dana, was that it? That was it?
Well, you asked me like,
Yeah.
how do I know that they're gonna be able to fill their
No,
time?
did you have anything
No.
else that you wanted to add?
Oh, games.
Okay.
Like having games to pull out of your toolbox already set for, and then if you run out of time, you run out of time. I mean, and I write the stuff on the board, and so they can see what we're supposed to do today. And then there are times where, oh, we didn't get to this, we're gonna move this to tomorrow.
Mhm.
But it also keeps them on track if they want to play Kahoot or whatever.
Any of those.
Every game that they really enjoyed, it's up there and it kind of last. So they need to stay on target
Mhm.
if they want to play that game. So if they're going off on their tangents, like Desi, who takes over class, and you're like, reel that girl in, and she does. If a person's, I mean, the classmates are going to reel her in too because they're like, hey, you need to get back on topic. We want to play our game.
I think that's
Yeah.
cool. Like they're so excited to play a game that they're
So-
so like, yo, shut it down.
But see, we have a little bit different, which you can do that with the hands-on stuff, and you can do with your
Yeah.
labs too. But we say, all right, we got extra time. We're going to go over to the massage space and we're going to do X, Y, Z.
Mm.
You know, so you can do that in any of the labs too.
Yeah, I mean, you can trade it
Um,
up and like, I've always done a game where it's like heads up, 7 up, but instead they keep their head down and then people come around to massage and then they have to choose who like you
Mm.
Massage,
and
yeah.
then have to switch the exchange.
Recognizing
they
their-
like that too.
Yeah.
I mean, there's many things that we've started doing, but
Where did you get the ideas from the games from?
Facebook, Pinterest,
Mm.
TikTok, you saw them do something like, hey, I can do that.
Yeah.
Well, there's I've been wanting to do it in anatomy is the Spotify. Have you ever heard of this card game called Spotify? And it's like, it's a card with pictures of different things on it. Let's say a hand, a drop of blood, you know, whatever is on this, all these different pictures. And there's a whole bunch of these cards. And so one of the pictures is enlarged and you flip your cards over, and it has to match whatever one's there. So if you see it, you're like, yeah, I got the drop of blood. So then that card becomes yours.
So it's like Go Fish or
It's similar to Go Fish, but it's
Mhm.
making you Spotify pictures.
Mhm.
yeah.
And so you can do that in anatomy, like different, like you do it with
Because we did
bones
that
or,
with kinesiology and
oh, the Go
flash
Fish thing we
cards,
did
yeah.
with flashcards in anatomy or kinesiology.
Kinesiology.
We had all these stacks of old revision flashcards. And I'm like, I don't want to just throw them away. So they've been sitting there. And so we did the Go Fish. So there's ones where there's pictures of muscles. And then there's one where the description of the muscles. So that, you know, how Go Fish is.
Mhm.
And so we did it by each body section.
Mhm.
So we have these stacks of Go Fish cards that Shannon's going to play with her group too. So, I mean, I don't know where it came from. It was just,
You just
what can we
take
do
it
with
and then-
these?
yeah.
Yeah, and you think about ways, how can I modify that to learning and doing?
Yeah, like the heads up game I mentioned already. I'm like, I got that because I played it New Year's, and then I'm like, hey, how can I incorporate
Yeah,
this into class? Like you can do it in auto.
Yeah,
Like, different steps associated with changing oil. Just randomly coming up with something, I don't know.
Or parts.
Or
Yeah,
parts.
parts.
And then they're holding the card
Yeah.
up and the classmates have to describe what that part is
Mhm.
without saying what the part is.
right.
I mean, you can do it on anything, but
Yeah.
that's just what we did, but, and then as far as the last week, I'm gonna try it this term, because we wanna fill yes, we're filling time in week 6, which is a challenge, is
It can be
breaking them up, because ours are a mixture
done the
Mhm.
whole
of,
curriculum.
some of them are moving on to deep, and then the rest are going on to whatever next class is. They can break up and then discuss, hey, how can we better prepare you for next term?
Mhm.
We're already moving on to next term because you gotta fill the time.
I also do a lot of
So-
scenarios, like
Yep.
I can do ethics scenarios. Today, I've done all the lectures on all the chapters. We're done with all the book work. And I had them answer questions. I said, you're gonna have to do this in the real world. Why should I get a massage? What is a
That was
knot?
so funny.
How do you,
We
what is
wish we would've
draping?
recorded it. It
Oh
was
my God, because I made it fun. I was like, okay, how can we make this fun? Because I didn't want to stand up in front of everybody. So I said, you can sit at your desk. I said, but how about each one of you picks a different accent? I so should have recorded it.
Oh, it was a
Great.
riot.
It was greatness. So and then they read and they were all so creative and different and
Cool.
so it was
Anything else on that
Good
list we got,
jam.
Janet?
Nope.
All right. Coming in hot
Meditation.
this way.
Oh, yeah, we did meditation today,
meditation's always good too.
but we can,
Yeah.
because it's
Yeah.
a self-help thing for
Right,
our,
but I don't know why you couldn't, because I mean, you've got to probably find ways to de-stress in each one of the programs. And there's a
I'm
lot
not
of
sure
different meditation.
his students would like that. Yours
Meditation in
would,
my class leads to,
maybe sound asleep,
no.
but it was a helpful it's a self-care thing.
Yeah, it is.
Maybe for your self-care would be stretching or,
Hand exercises.
how to maneuver underneath the car without hurting your back or whatever.
Mhm.
I don't know.
You would definitely have to not use the word meditation
No, you would have to use something.
and figure out something.
Oh, speaking of that, can I ask him a question real quick? I know you're recording this, but we've been wanting to come out into your space and do chair massage for your students.
Okay.
So we could do that, like, on a term, like pack up the students and, because we've not been out to your facility to make them feel,
Week 6. like,
connected
when everybody's
with-
doing all the.
I don't know, would it,
Wednesday, Thursday, next
next
Wednesday.
Wednesday or Thursday,
Tuesday,
maybe
Wednesday,
they could
Thursday.
come over there and do, chair massage. I'm just trying, because they're so isolated now.
Yeah.
And I brought that up to Catrice, that I keep forgetting to ask you.
Yeah.
So there's a self-help fill-in by incorporating another program.
Body mechanics, auto mechanics.
There you go.
Mm.
Yeah, because
That's a-
we do that a lot.
You're full of taglines here.
I don't know. So think about Wednesday or Thursday next week. Figure out where you can
Could
fit it
be-
in. Probably Wednesday. 'Cause
Yeah.
Thursday's LRS finals.
Well, I'd like for it to be, we were told we had to do it on.
And we're not changing this. All right, JP, you got what you got for us?
I changed them.
I just always make sure I have extra materials or activities on the topic that we're going over.
Mhm.
I do make sure I build it up, or if we go through all of that, I'm like, we still have a half an hour, what can I add? Or maybe research the topic we're gonna be covering the next day. So then that way, we're giving them a little preview of what we're covering. Cause like yesterday, I made sure to say, hey, we're doing an activity, you might wanna make sure you all have a pencil, cause I knew there was gonna be a lot of EB racing today. So I gave them that heads up, so then that way they knew that we were doing another, I mean, and we do a lot of activities, but I try to keep it moving, even though I do have some slower students. I'm like, okay, you guys, we only have 5 minutes and then we're moving on. So I really make sure I throw that out there so they know, oh, I have to time manage myself better. And then we also do peer groups where I do put an older student with a newer student. So then that way they can get that time management down because the older students know, hey, we're moving. This is a quick program. We don't have time to sit there and dink around.
Mhm.
So that helps also.
I like that you said you told them to bring something. That kind of gives like an excitement to something like,
Mhm.
oh yeah, this is coming up next for tomorrow. Like, what do I need my pencil for? Like, don't forget to bring your pencil.
Mhm.
Like, what am I doing with my pencil today? Gotta go home, find a pencil.
And it is, that's exactly, because one of them's like, I don't have money to buy a pencil. I'll have a pencil for you.
Mhm.
So it just gives them that, it's stupid, it's a pencil, but it's still, it makes them think,
Mhm.
oh,
What
I'm
I'm
gonna
gonna
be
do.
doing something where I have to maybe erase.
Mhm.
And there was a lot of erasing.
Okay.
I always, when I get advice from people who are from watching advice, they always link education to movies for some reason. But yeah, you always have to have those like ebbs and flows and
Mhm.
like problems and issues and something to look forward to for the next day. So I think that's cool. Bring a pencil.
I'm gonna try it tomorrow.
Again, it sounds silly,
You gotta
but
make sure you're gonna use that pencil.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
try it.
This pencil bar, we're building something today.
Mm.
Creative ways to put your hair up.
Yeah, yes, with a pencil.
Flip it up.
That's a good one. That's because you do that. I've seen her do that before with the pencil. I'm like, how does that stay?
Best way. It's the best pony.
Mhm.
My turn.
Yeah.
All right. So, one thing I like to do at the start of class, especially with a new group or a new subject, is do a class expectation flip chart. So, what does the class expect to get out of this class? And I have them come up and write it on the whiteboard or one of those big flip chart papers. But that helps me know where I can take my class. Because if they're hitting on subjects, let's say we're talking about color, but they want to talk about highlighting, and that's something that's going to get them excited and engaged, then I'll make sure we at least touch on that today and let them know we will be learning about that tomorrow, but let's touch on it a little bit. But it helps get an idea of what your class is ready to absorb information wise. And then it also gives me ideas for, okay, if we do have some downtime, like they wanted to get this out of today. So how can I make sure we hit these subjects? And a lot of times it's relating it to salon life. So if we're talking about color, and they had questions on, well, how much do you actually charge for this? If we get through that piece of it, I'm gonna have them get on their phones because they love their phones and look at different prices for color at different salons here locally and write it down and share with the group what they found, and just really relating it back to that real life salon experience. If it's consultations with color, I mean, you have to do a consultation for every subject that we cover there, and so pairing them up and having them actually do that consultation on each other is a really good experience for them, and they always learn something from it. So
I'm probably gonna, I don't know if I'm cutting you off, but I'm gonna cut you off right now.
mhm.
Just because I do think that being able to relate it to real life is so important. Why is this gonna help me? Why do I
Mhm.
need to know this? A lot of our students get stuck in the habit of, I'm in school, and so they're just trying to get a grade.
Mhm.
But we're trying to prepare them for a career. So
Mhm.
anytime you can relate it back to
Yes.
real world experience, I believe that's a great time filler. Not that we're filling time,
Mhm.
but if you want to perk someone's
Mhm.
ears.
Do you take
Yeah.
that a step further and say, what percentage of a coloring do the stylists get?
What was that? Sorry.
Like, what percentage of that coloring charge does the stylist actually receive?
Right. So you can that if we're talking about color, we haven't talked about salon structure quite yet. And so they do
Okay.
dive into that once they hit like their salon
Because
business.
money motivates, so.
Yeah, and that's, and it's fun for them to actually research around town because it's something that they're going to be needing to look at for when they're looking into a salon.
Yeah.
Do they charge by the hour for color, or is it, a certain set dollar amount? So it helps to get them thinking about where they want to end up, what salon they want to end up in, because a lot of times they just want to get through school and they forget that small piece of it. Well, big piece of it. And so if we start it from the beginning, they're constantly researching salons for different facial services or waxing services. So it helps them get more familiar with the market here in town.
Do you have them do different ones each time?
Yeah, and a lot of times their price lists change too throughout the time. So yeah, they will get on their Facebook page and, look and see if there's been an update in their prices, because that's something, as our products are going up, they're seeing that as well. So sometimes a new salon opens too, and they'll look at that and say, oh, did you hear about this salon? And yeah, so keeps them on track and keeps them engaged. But it seems fun to them, so they're really eager to participate in it. And I think that's one of the big things, is just making them feel like they want to learn it.
The hugest challenge of all.
Yeah.
Making it fun. But they do want to know that stuff. And I think that we're at a little bit of an advantage, because our students are trying to either change their career paths or better their futures. So there's something about whatever they are enrolled in. They want to know something. You just have to find what it is sometimes.
Correct.
Sam, is this your first one of these?
Yeah,
Yay! Have you watched any of the other ones?
yeah.
Okay.
So you don't need me to prelude anything. You know what the subject is. What's your advice, or what's your take on how to best create a quality education experience?
I think giving them hands-on skill time helps, because they can learn or practice what they learned that day or that week. And then if they have questions, they can bring it up. And then I guess just like doing Kahoots, something like that, at the end of class when they want to leave, keeps them engaged for the most part.
I will say that every time I walk by your class and they're doing Kahoots, like, your students just have the funnest time with that, which is confusing in my soul. So will you tell me what it is? Like, what is it about Kahoots? Like, why is it a worthwhile program or game to be played?
Yeah, that's what
Exactly.
competition.
Didn't want to.
Yeah, I was gonna, yeah, it's competition.
Do we win anything?
Your name
is
is up on the podium.
And
It's
you
a
get
3-tier
confetti.
podium.
Yeah.
And then everybody's, and you get to
Fire
pick your
street.
cool name, and then you're
your
like,
little avatar.
yeah, your avatar.
It's just me. I would be so mad if I didn't win every time.
I'm sure there are some that really are very highly
Yeah, they're
competitive.
like,
I don't know.
Lost Kahoots today.
A lot of times they won't put their name, like they'll just put like their initials or something, so that you don't know it's them until they actually win, and then they're like,
Yeah.
oh, that was me.
That would be me.
Yeah, I would do that. I did that. I
I'm
do
pretty
that.
competitive.
Mhm.
Like, and I don't like to lose. So if I think I was gonna lose at something, I'd probably not put my name in.
And we don't care. We're like, as long as you're participating.
Just so now you know something about me. If I said I'm
I know,
playing,
you're the
'cause I think I'm gonna
wallflower.
win.
Is that why you put the brackets
That's
together?
right. I think I'm gonna win.
Ah!
Um,
Is that due date tomorrow?
The 21st.
the 21st? Yeah, before the
Oh,
first
Thursday.
round.
Thursday.
I know they have games today, but
God, I didn't even,
I did
I forgot all about it.
I did.
The NCAA,
it was yesterday.
men's basketball or women's basketball
I'm
Pick
bracket thing.
That's a good way to do it.
to do.
What are we winning? Do we know?
Yes, but we're not gonna talk about it right now.
It's still
Sorry.
Sam's.
I don't know enough about it.
But I guess we could have, they could win something if,
Mm.
I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know.
Whoever's the winner of this
Or-
particular Kahoot.
But if they love
Free
just
water
playing
in
for
the tech
playing,
cafe.
Oh,
Yeah.
some do.
Some, yeah.
just for bragging rights,
Yeah.
put their name on the
Yeah.
winner,
Yeah, Kahoot
all-time winner.
winner of today.
Well, we could enter them like we've done in the past. We haven't done it for a minute. But if they are first place in Kahoots, we'll put their name in a bucket, and at the end of the term, we'll draw for a prize. But gosh, we haven't done that in a long time. I need to write that down. We need to do it again,
Yeah.
because then they get even more excited. Yeah.
Oh, nice. We have some of those.
Mhm.
Anything else, Sam, you wanted to add to that?
I don't think so.
Okay. Louis, your turn.
Usually I don't have too many answers in these roundtables. I have a million things in my toolbox that aptly named, that I will use to fill time, whether it's, honestly, I have magazines and books from the sixties
Mm.
into the nineties when I stopped having room to collect them, with different articles about car stuff. Um, videos that I can find on YouTube, and I know that's shaky ground, but stuff that I can find that I know relates to what they do. Manufacturers articles that I can break down and teach them things that isn't in the curriculum, that's deeper than the curriculum. I have we're in engines class, which is probably my favorite. I have a huge affinity for air in, air out. An engine's just an air pump, and then how you build things otherwise is how it pumps that air and fuel. And I can teach them what Mother Nature does and how we can uh, build on that to make the car that was this way something else, you know. Um, brake, steering, suspension, chassis modifications, stuff that, you know, isn't in the curriculum that fills time. Whether we're physically looking at cars or doing it again with information that I can gather. The Cahoots, everybody loves Cahoots, whether it has anything to do with class or not. We did Disney Princesses one day and everybody loved it.
But they don't like the word meditation.
Right.
They did Disney Princess.
Yeah.
But you know what that
I clearly lost that one back.
curriculum, it's
It's because they have kids.
it's a kind of
We're gonna-
camaraderie kind of thing, yeah.
Mhm.
You know, so it's not
Yeah.
that far behind them
Mhm.
to
Yes.
watch Disney stuff. Well, I've got
Right.
an 18, 17, 18, 19-year-old students, you know, that, gosh, we do scavenger hunts. In fact, I just came up with an idea while we were talking here. Scavenger hunts, I usually give them a list and send them out here, find this stuff on the car.
Oh,
Well,
that's a good one.
based on, well, reverse it, based on that, okay, here's a list of a couple of things. The quickest one to go out, dig this out of the trash heap, so to speak, and get back here with it wins a lollipop, or I don't know,
Yeah.
free water from Tech Cafe. You know, there's all kinds of, Electude has, engine or simulators built into it that I can go search and come up with different things, whether it's easy, whether it's hard. One might say check engine light came on. Okay, why did it do that? What do we do now? Or engine won't start. Okay, well, there's really 4 things that keeps an engine running. What are they? Figure it out. You know, and how much help I give them depends on the level of the class.
Fuel, oxygen,
You're close, you got 2 more to go.
I know.
Electricity.
Spark.
What'd you say? Oh, yeah, I was gonna say something with the spark plug, so,
Start.
oh. And then what would be the fourth one? Anybody?
Airflow?
I said air.
That's oxygen.
Fuel. Spark,
Electricity, spark.
no,
Compression. You
I was gonna say,
burn and
okay,
power if you just.
moves
Oh, you're
the,
gonna say that.
okay, it's gotta move
a
the
spark
spark,
if there's here.
Mine is called
the
right?
drive.
Turn it on.
I was gonna say something with the cylinder, but I wasn't sure if that was
You're on
even
the right
right.
track.
Hmm.
So,
I'm not even in class, see?
but, I mean, on and on about things that I
That's
can
cool.
just literally pull out of my head at a moment's notice as a tech and as a parts person, whether I was manager, counter person, whatever. I could, okay, it's slow for a moment. I'm gonna go grab trash cans and drag them outside. Go dump trash, go cut up cardboard, go scrap warranty parts, sell this customer parts for their car. And be darn good at it, you know, here's this, but you're also gonna need this and this to complete that, or you're gonna be back here, or you're gonna end up at AutoZone, something like that. It's thinking ahead, knowing what have I got to do today? So in my morning routine, or even on the way home, most of the times on the way home lately, I'm like, you know, but in the morning, I'm up, okay, so what are we gonna do today? Let's see, we need to do this, we need to do that. That's not gonna take this period of time, so what do I need to do to fill that? Okay, well, I can have a reverse scavenger hunt. We can take cars out, hook scan tool up to them, run them around, what's find wrong with this car? I can bug a car. And it only takes me a minute to go out and, you know, figure something out to mess up a car to where a student has to think about, why does it not work? And that can consume 2 or 3 hours easily sometimes. Um, I don't know, there's all kinds of stuff that you know, pull out of your head that can fill time. And maybe it's easier for me. I feel that I have a great luxury out there, and maybe I'm rambling on for too long, but I feel like I have a great luxury, whether it was over there or out here, with being able to shift what I do. You know, I mean, for a scavenger hunt, hey, the first one brings back a bicuspid wins. Hold still, Sam. You know, I mean, you're
You just have to
limited on,
make sure you knock out the right one.
okay, you're limited on what you can do because of some classes. I've been sitting thinking on that for a minute.
Who knows that you know what that is?
I couldn't point it out, but I know.
You knew it was a tooth, but not on a car part.
Yeah, but yeah, being able to shift gears or to change directions is extremely important. At least I think for my class, for my jobs, I'm overhauling an engine for somebody and we're busy. Hey, I need you to pull off and do this weight or oil change. Okay, fine. So you do this weight or oil change, then you get something else to do. You have to be able to come back to what you were doing originally, remember where you were at. But you also have to have the functionability and flexibility to be able to stop this, take your brain out of this, put it in neutral, go do these and come back to it, whether it's in an hour, 15 minutes, or the next day or the next week. Mr. Hughes used to talk to his students about all the time, man, somebody's had this car apart. We don't know where any of this goes. We don't want to work on this car. Too bad, because in my line of business, you get a lot of vehicles that are completely broken, whether it's something somebody tried to fix at home or this technician quit halfway or got fired halfway through finishing the job. And you have to be able to pick it up and run with it. So that applies to my job. It applies to a technician's job that I'm training back here. You talked about, ethics. You mentioned the word ethics. In the automotive field, I have been raised and tried very, very hard to follow a very high ethical code. You don't bring a car, and that's what I get on these students about. Well, do you think it could be this? I don't think. I want you to prove to me you know this is what it is. That way, when you call the customer, if I call you up and I said, hey, Mrs. Merle, we think that your muffler bearings are falling out and we're probably gonna have to put muffler bearings. Well, how much is that gonna be? Well, I don't know, it might be a couple thousand bucks. Well, when can you have it done? Oh, give us a few days. Well, what the heck kind of diagnosis is that?
First,
So
so you have to say, what are muffler bearings?
So well, they obviously go in a muffler.
I didn't know
So-
mufflers had bearings.
Either.
You
Maybe that's what
groom
rattles.
beginning technicians to be ethical.
Mm.
Ethical is
Yeah.
the
That's
opposite of AutoZone. I have an
That's
O2 code. You need an O2 sensor. Oh, that didn't fix it? Well, here's 4 of them. Okay, no. It was a vacuum leak. All you needed was a piece of rubber hose for free off your neighbor's car.
And that's how you teach ethics.
I mean, that was a good point to bring up ethics. You
Yeah.
hadn't really
Yeah,
thought
I do
about
that
that
all the
in the,
time. Yeah.
yeah, it's
Do you
Well, I
give
mean,
a
ethics
customer
has to
estimate?
be
in every
everything.
program.
You give
I
a
would
customer
think.
an estimate and you
Mhm.
stick to it.
Yeah.
Okay, you give a customer a diagnosis and that's what's wrong with their car. Yes, we all make mistakes, but you limit that, you know?
Or at least
you
admit
put-
it if you do make a
Right.
mistake. Don't try to
Yes.
cover it up.
No, you tell the customer.
Hey, I
and
screwed
then
up.
Buy them pizza, or you give them a ride, or you
Yeah.
fix it for free or free labor or something. To where they're no longer grumpy with you because you gouged them for messing up their car. I don't know, I'm sure that I've wandered outside the scope of your question.
But that's okay.
But yes, ethics is a huge deal
It is
and it
huge.
can come all the way down to, did you shave today? Did you wear your shirt to school? Have you got steel-toed shoes on like I asked? You know? Wash your hands. It's time to go home, but you're filthy and look at your clothes and we didn't clean the floor and put tools away. Let's
Right.
go.
Mm.
You know?
I do think that the way that your brain has to process being an automotive technician probably suits well into this career path. All of us have a little bit of that where you have to be able to stop whatever you're doing and assess the classroom, assess your students, figure out where we are, shuffle them along. They need to be shuffled or bounce wherever we need to bounce back to and then come back to it instead of just giving up and like, oh, we're done for the day. Oh, nope, we need to do this. That doesn't look like it's done. Oh, let's have a conversation about that. And since we're here, let's go back to talk about this because that's where we started. And we still haven't quite finished that out. But yeah, I think that. And when it comes to new instructors, I think maybe they get a little bit nervous because they're new. And then we've given them a curriculum and then we tell them don't go off base from the curriculum.
Yeah, so then they're freaked
So,
out.
so then they feel frozen maybe, but I don't think that they should have that frozen feeling. They should look at it. They should plan it out, put that agenda together. And then if they have the extra time, they're like, now I can do whatever I want. I can throw
Right.
on all those fun things. I can reverse engineer my class. What would I want? What would I want to know if I were in this class? And what do I want them to know before they get out of this class and toss those things in there along with the curriculum.
And even, going back to week 6, this is going to be on your final. So then they know that this is something they need to study the whole term. So each time I do that, I'm like, okay, make sure you understand this for week 6. So then that way they have a heads up.
They should, and the only way you can do that is if you actually know the material.
Correct.
But I agree with you wholeheartedly. And I also use that as strings, and I'm sure it sounds like you do as well. Oh, tomorrow we're going over stuff that's on the test.
Correct.
Better show up on time, not going backwards.
Yep.
And then they're like, what did we miss? Oh, you missed it. I gave out $100 bills this morning. You weren't here. I wish I could do
We
that.
could give out $100 Monopoly money and then they could buy something with it, like from your prize.
Yeah, you have a little prize box.
Yeah, that they
With
buy with their Monopoly money that they
or
earned.
t-shirts or hats
Yeah.
or bags or.
We tried that one.
Kind of like they do that in elementary school.
Yeah, they have the tickets, they can accumulate.
Yeah.
tickets and
We
get
said
things.
it didn't work, JP.
Really?
Really?
It must be just your
Students are
student,
Always
Oh, no, it was everybody.
wanting.
your student, the entire school? Really?
Oh, I was gonna say students now. I had one
Wow.
the other day ask, it was Maggie asking, Shelby where she got her little drink thing. And she's like, oh, well, I wore a Grinch shirt and I said here. She's like,
Right.
Yeah, see, it's, I don't know, a different student body now, maybe.
yeah, they like the free merch.
Free merge.
But they've earned the free merch by doing something
Well, and that's what I'm saying.
or
They do,
using
they
the
like-
Monopoly money.
They like the.
I thought this was a great conversation. Anybody else have anything else they want to toss in? Sit down. We need another topic for the next time. Who has a topic off the top of their head?
I don't know how to word it. How to not keep the student motivated, but engage. Well,
We did that.
like when
once,
they
but
don't believe in themselves. So, how to get them.
How to reignite their passion.
Yeah.
How's that?
Or
Love it.
confidence, I would say.
High five.
Yeah.
All my T-Rex arms aren't reaching across the table. Oh, fingertips.
Confidence boost.
To reignite motivation and confidence. Sold on the topic. Thanks, guys.
Okay.
Motivation and what?
Confidence.
You're the one who came up with it.
Yeah.
I didn't say that. I said reignite their
We
passion.
say
Oh, how to reignite? I'm gonna.
Sometimes.
Passion.
Oh, I crossed that off.
Passion and confidence.
Oh.
Passion.
All right.
All
Just
three.
because
Now-
every student who goes into their choice of program has to have some form of passion for
Mhm.
that.
They do, but a lot of times I see it's.
They
for
do
the
lose it.
confidence of what they're doing. They don't think I'm not good enough or I can't or.
Passion.
Passion.
Passion and confidence.